Yet despite this, engaging men in caregiving is only just starting to find its way onto the global gender equality agenda. Well, for more, we have on the line Mbuyiselo Botha. He's the Media Relations Officer for SABC Gender Justice. Good afternoon, Mr. Botha, and thank you for your time on the PM News Desk.
Well, thank you so much, and good afternoon to you, Kashni, and your listeners.
Good. What necessitated a report of this nature, and why now, Mr. Botha?
Well, we wanted to find out, do a scientific study and establish, various issues on violence, on fathers, on care work, on paternity leave, so that our actions and our interventions are informed by a scientific study or knowledge. So, if you like, this was to ensure that we know what we're talking about.
Mr. Botha, what does it actually assess? Take us through those four main categories of the report.
Well, it talks about, when you look at the issue of gender-based violence, that in most countries it has increased, it continues to increase, that the majority of people who are at the receiving end remains women, remains the girl child. But also, it talks about when you look at the reproductive aspect of it, that a lot of us men still are of the view that issues of contraception are related to women only, so that men are not, allowed or even encouraged to be part and parcel of, contraception. But going on, it also, the report talks about the child's development, issues of fathers being involved in the lives of their children, about care work, but more importantly about how we as men can assist and be part and parcel of the raising of our children together with women, so that it gives women a fair opportunity for breastfeeding, a fair opportunity for increasing and doing something about their skills, about opportunities that may come their way when they do have time to themselves, where we as men get involved.
Mr. Botha, we are marking Youth Day across the country, and great focus now on developing a socially responsible, caring generation. How does all this tie in with the global gender equality agenda?
Well, the work that we do is precisely and primarily a focus on creating a new man. A young man who would reject violence in all its shapes and form. A young man who would know that being a responsible, proper man has got nothing to do with toxic form of masculinities. So we think that it is appropriate to launch it at this time in the history of this country, to say that the violence that we saw in 1976, it's the violence that should not define who we are as South Africans.
Of course, Mr. Botha, Stats SA in a recent report says that South Africa has one of the highest rates of father absence on the globe. Of course, due to our history, the cruel migratory labour system, which resulted in this situation, a painful situation where children are left vulnerable in very unconventional family structures, if you want to call it that. And the reality is that the majority of our children are growing up in households without two parents. In a nutshell, how do we get around this?
Well, education, and that focuses on men themselves, but on young men who are at the teenage age are fathers. That you don't only need, while it's important, you don't only need monetary value, or you don't need material. While it's very critical, and I must emphasize that those that work, it's important to provide for their children. But our focus also says there's much more that we can do as fathers, as men, that we can't only talk about material provision. There are issues of getting involved in the homework of our babies, of our children, the emotional aspect, but importantly, the care work, so that we should change the discussions. We should change the paradigm among us or within us as men, that we begin to think differently, that you are not a man because you can make babies. You are a man because you can care for those babies in different ways.
Mbuyiselo Botha, the Media Relations Officer for SABC Gender Justice, on the line to us there. Thank you for your time on the PM News Desk.